Hi everyone, my name is James Jazile. This is Digital Charcuterie. This is the very first episode of Manic Monday. Manic Monday is something that I said I would do on Friday, which is basically the overflow of email that I got for the Casual Friday. If you have an email you would like to send me with a topic or question you would like to hear me talk about right here on Digital Charcuterie, send it to digitalcharcuterie@gmail.com. That is what's on the graphic right there down below, or is it here? And it's in the description down below. So just click on that, send an email. Love reading them. Try to respond to as many as I can. It's been amazing. Thank you guys all so much for sending them my way. It's been incredible the last little while. So Friday, I usually do 3 questions on Friday. This week I got so many that I decided to do another show today where I'm going to do as many as I can. Things were still coming in on the weekend, so Friday's show is going to be packed. Might have to do another one on Monday, but we're going to be talking everything from Batman to Star Wars to Disney and a whole bunch of stuff. So this is basically, as Casual Friday is, this is just tell me what you want me to talk about, and I will talk about it, and that's what we're going to do. So I want to get to the very first question. It comes from Chris. Hi, James. Love the channel. Thank you very much, Chris. Do you really think Ben Affleck's time as Batman is up? Yeah, I do. I think he, everything you read, everything he says, he did that San Diego Comic-Con where he said how much he loved Matt Reeves and was looking forward to working with him. And then there was that rumor where Matt Reeves was looking for Jake Gyllenhaal or a younger actor to play Batman. And then Matt Reeves kind of says his Batman trilogy or singular film is not part of the larger DCEU. And then he retracted that. And then, John Campea says, we're going to be hearing something big about the DCEU. Whether or not we've heard that or not, I don't know. But things are progressing in Batman. Flashpoint is happening. He's not going to direct the Batman films, the Flashpoint film. Look, they're grooming his exit. Excuse me. It's basically what they're doing. They are paving the way for him to say farewell to Batman, but finding a way for them to replace him as an actor. And the way that I've always felt about superhero films, and the MCU really did change this, but the way that I felt before that was, we kept getting a Superman film and we'll reboot Superman. Then what happened once or twice, and then Batman was Michael Keaton, and then Val Kilmer, and then George Clooney, and then Christian Bale, and the Christian Bale ones, they were great, but you almost feel like why weren't superhero films being treated like James Bond films? James Bond has 25 films now, I think 25, 24, 25. Anyway, there've been 90 years of James Bond movies, and all they do is they're like, well, this one's out as James Bond. Let's get somebody else in as James Bond, and we'll tell our own story. But it's all the James Bond universe, and you can buy your big James Bond box sets, and James Bond fans are like, James Bond is the best. I love James Bond. This is my favorite James Bond. No, this is my favorite James Bond. Why can't you do that with superheroes? That's how I always felt. And so I think, DC, while they're in a tough spot with Ben Affleck, I don't think they are. I think Batman is the character that sells. It's not the actor behind the cape and cowl, So I think as soon as the studios kind of see past that, they'll be okay and they can move forward. And I honestly think you could do Batman v Superman 2, not that they would, or Justice League 2, not that they probably will, with a different actor in the Batman suit, and people will be like, oh, it's not Ben Affleck. And they'd most likely just move on from there and be fine with it. That's how I think. But yeah, I think Affleck's time is up. You'll see him in 2020 once again in the Flashpoint movie as Batman. For how long or how little, I don't know, but we'll find out. We'll be hearing things as time goes on, but I'm pretty sure he's done as the Batman. All right, our next question comes from, hi James, great new channel, loving the content here. Was wondering, I heard somewheres that Disney was going to push BP, Black Panther, and Mary Poppins for awards next year, but nothing about Christopher Robin. Do you think Disney has no faith in the movie? Thanks again, and keep it up. Anisha. Thank you very much, Anisha. I absolutely love that Christopher Robin teaser trailer. It was great. It was Winnie the Pooh, and it was exactly the right Winnie the Pooh that you wanted. Little Pooh Bear coming back. And it reminded me a lot of Hook, when Peter Pan grows up and he loses sight of the world around him, and he kind of gets engulfed in his work life and his career, and he doesn't have time for his family or his kids, and then he needs his past to come back to him and pull him back into the light and say, hey, look, there's more to the world than what you think. And that's what Christopher Robin kind of reminded me of. Now, I don't know too much about it because obviously it was just a teaser trailer, but that's exactly how I feel. Now, the Black Panther Mary Poppins things is a very good point. I read an article that also said that Disney was going to push those for awards consideration as well. So I don't think they don't have faith in it. I mean, I think the reaction to that teaser trailer was great. I just think maybe it's not on the level of Mary Poppins in regards to awards material. If you watch the Academy Awards, you know that there's a certain criteria that films typically tend to have to meet, and maybe Christopher Robin doesn't meet that criteria. Maybe they feel Mary Poppins, because it is going to be a musical, they feel that maybe that is the right angle and the push that they can make, and that's their best bet at the awards. Who knows how it all turns out? I mean, we're still a year away from the next Academy Awards. You know, they won't be making these push until November, December is when we're really going to get the pushes made for them. So a lot is to be said. Black Panther's an interesting one. Superhero movies, I know there's a lot of talk that maybe this will be nominated for Best Picture, and there might be a good chance at that. For me, I wouldn't say this is a Best Picture of the year at all. I mean, it's a really great film and whatnot, but it's not the Best Picture of the year. I don't think it should be in the top 10, because if you put Black Panther in the top 10, then you have to argue, well, where was Logan this year? Because I think Logan is a superior film to Black Panther. And there's, and I think there's a few other in the MCU that are actually better than Black Panther as well. But it is a tremendous film. It's just if you start giving them Best Picture, but at the same time, you have to start somewhere, right? So maybe Black Panther is the best place to start for superheroes getting the acknowledgement that many believe that they deserve. And I like to see that. But no, I don't think Disney has no faith in Christopher Robin. If they didn't, I don't think we would have got a trailer this early out. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think Disney is looking forward to your money at the box office as well. All right. Thank you so much, Anisha, for that question. Next one comes from, hi, James. Great channel. Love that you are taking emails. Was wondering if you think it's possible that Loki survives and goes into hiding in Avengers Infinity War. Thanks, and continue to thrive, Alexa. And thank you very much, Alexa. No, I think Loki's going to bite the bullet in the first 10 minutes of this film. I think he is the MCU character that Marvel needs to kill off, to tell the fans that there are real stakes in this movie, that real things are about to happen. Kevin Feige said, be careful what you wish for. And I don't think he was talking about Tony Stark. I think he was talking about fan favorite Loki. Look, Loki has died in the past, and I think he's going to die for good this time. I mean, it's, Loki has been around for 8-9 years now on screen. He was the villain in the first Avengers film, obviously the first Thor film. He showed back up in Thor 2, Thor 3. So he is a fan favorite. He keeps coming back. And if you're going to tell the audience at the beginning of a movie, like, hey, shit's getting real, this is the guy you do it to. You kill him off. Thor witnesses it. Thor gets sprung somewhere. With Hulk, obviously, they get the reality stone, clearly. And then, you go on from there, and then the stakes are raised. So every time Tony Stark is on screen, every time Captain America's on screen, every time Black Panther's on screen, they won't kill Black Panther. Every time Black Panther's on screen, Ant-Man's on screen, Spider-Man's on screen, the possibility of real danger, of a real threat of death or severe injury is there. And then you're going to be more invested in the story and in Thanos. Thanos has to be a real villain. They haven't had a really great MCU villain like him yet. Nobody has come in and taken anybody out, really. Like, yeah, Thor's mom got killed and Quicksilver was killed, but no one of any value. No disrespect to those guys, but no one of real value to the MCU as a whole. And Loki would be a great first domino to fall in that. And I like I said, I think Tony Stark needs to die. Maybe Homecoming comes after, I think, Avengers 4 it starts. I think Tony Stark needs to die for Peter Parker to grow in the Spider-Man Homecoming franchise. That's what I think. Tony Stark has obviously taken the mantle of the Uncle Ben character, and that's why I think. But I don't think Loki's going into hiding this time. I think Loki's going into dead. That's what I think. Thanks a lot for your email. Let's move on to the next question. Really liking your channel. I know you love Star Wars, so I was wondering, will Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy be canceled? Will. Thank you very much, Will. No. There was just a interview with the producer the other day who said they have started to develop it. So it's being developed now. So take a guess what it's going to be about. Nobody knows. He said it's not going to be anything we have ever seen in the Star Wars world canon or legends before. So possibilities are endless. If you've seen the Jedi and the director and the Jedi and the director documentary on the digital copy or soon to be Blu-ray or it might be on YouTube or online somewhere, then you know that Kathleen Kennedy had a really great working relationship with the team involved. And the Last Jedi, like it or not, made over $1 billion. Like, it made comfortably over $1 billion. So he's gonna get this trilogy. And you know what? If the first movie in the trilogy tanks, then maybe they look at it as, well, what's going on here? But if they film them all as once, like Lord of the Rings, then we're getting all three of them. I hope that they're good. Whether you like The Last Jedi or not, you gotta hope that they're good. Why would you hope for a failure if you're a Star Wars fan? If you're not a Star Wars fan and you just want to see failure, that's fine. But if you're an actual Star Wars fan, yeah, I want to see this movie succeed. I want to see the next one and the next one succeed. But I want them to be good at the same time. And so his trilogy is not canceled. It won't be canceled. If it fails, then it fails. But it's going to happen. We're going to see it. Probably not for 3 years at least. So, but again, all bets are off. Who knows what it's going to be about? It's a very exciting time to be a Star Wars fan right now. Thanks so much for your question. Next question comes from, hi, I like your channel. Also a Reylo fan. Star Wars needs to get away from the whole Nambla angle of the main villains being interested in teenage boys. This was something I noticed after seeing the film a second time. When Snoke starts torturing Rey and she screams out in pain, the scene cuts immediately to Poe waking up startled after Leia stunned him. Am I the only one who noticed that or thinks it might mean something? There had been rumors about Poe and Rey being siblings. Heidi. Thank you very much, Heidi. Yes, Rey and Poe being siblings. I have a friend who is right on board with that one. That's what he believes. If you know, Poe was born and grew up next to a Force tree, so he is Force sensitive. People argue the age difference between Rey and Poe, and Poe's parents were both killed at some point. But Poe's mother, I don't know if we know the exact date when she was killed. I'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure last I checked we didn't know the exact date. So that is up in the air. I don't know if they're necessarily related. I do like the angle, and this is a great question right here. When she screams out, Poe wakes up, and we see stuff like that. We see Luke calling out to Leia, and Leia acknowledges it. And sometimes people who aren't tonally adapted into the Force, they still can get these senses, the sensations coming to them from somebody calling out to them through the Force. And I think that's what is happening here. Is there's a connection between Poe and Rey that we don't know yet, but there is a reason why in The Last Jedi, Poe and Rey have a meet and greet of sorts where she introduces himself and he says he knows. There's a reason for that, because it happened in the Force Awakens novelization. Obviously, they are in scenes together in the Force Awakens movie. They don't introduce themselves to each other, but I think Rian Johnson put that in there on purpose. If you like The Last Jedi or not, one thing, Rian Johnson, everything Rian Johnson did in the movie was on purpose. There was a purpose, a point to what he was trying to do. And in this moment, it's not a coincidence that Rey would scream out in pain and Poe would wake up. I would argue that you're right, that Poe did wake up because he sensed Rey's pain. He sensed that. He didn't realize that that's what he sensed, though, but that's what happened, and that's what jolted him up. Them being related, I'm not, because of the parents thing, I'm not sure. I think that's just another, for me, I think that'd be totally cool, but I just think it's another element to add to the final movie going forward. It might be a little bit too much, but I think that it helps in the argument of Poe being Force sensitive or not. I think that's where that helps. And I think Poe and Rey have a connection. But, I just said that, and then when we find out in Return of the Jedi that Luke and Leia are related. So, we forget these as fans that you live your whole life with Luke and Leia being brother and sister, that you forget that for 2 movies, for 6 years, nobody knew that they were related. Not even George Lucas. So that's a great point. It's a very good possibility. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Could Poe and Rey be related? Is that why Poe was able to jolt up and sense the Force when she was screaming out in pain? I think it's an intriguing idea. I think it's one that I'm going to have to look deeper into, because that holds a lot of weight, I would say. All right, our next question, our final question, I should say, comes from Rachel. Rachel says, if Rey now has access to Kylo's mind and his training by way of their Force bond and can learn from them, does that make her his de facto apprentice? May the Force be with you, Rachel. Well, may the Force be with you. That's the interesting thing about the Force bonds, is the Force bonds was always something that could happen between a master and an apprentice, or a master and a Padawan. It always had to be that working relationship. Now, Snoke claims to have intervened in their minds and created this force bond between the two. For me, I think Kylo Ren says you need a teacher. Luke also says you need a teacher. And Rey needs a teacher. And I'm banking on the Kylo Ren thing being her teacher. I really like that idea. And look, with the mind trick in The Force Awakens, we know that Rey learned how to use the Force and manifest it in how she saw fit because of what she learned through Kylo Ren's own mind. When he went into her, she was able to block it, but in the blocking, they were both able to read essentially each other's minds and see their pasts and their futures in a lot of ways. And then they were able to, and so there was nothing that interested Kylo and Rey, obviously, but Rey saw this whole other thing. And she says to Luke that there was something always in her, but she never knew what it was. And then when Kylo opens it up, there it is. She sees that moment right there. And so she learned. So in a lot of ways, yeah, Rey and Kylo are a master and apprentice relationship, with Kylo being the master because he's unknowingly teaching Rey all about the Force. He wants to be her teacher in The Force Awakens for obvious reasons, but unbeknownst to him, already has been her teacher, her greatest teacher in a lot of ways. And I think that's going to get played out a lot more down the line. And I like that idea that she is his apprentice. And if Rey is Kylo's apprentice, then what does that say in 9? That adds more weight in 9. That final battle, like I've said a few times, I've said on this channel, the final battle needs some kind of heavy lifting to happen. And so far, we haven't got anything with these characters. Vader kills Obi-Wan and then reveals himself to be Luke's father. There are two giant moments that so the first fight between Vader and Luke, you're like, okay, well, he killed his master. Then he reveals himself to be his father. Then the final fight between the two, you're like, well, that's father and son. This is crazy. We haven't had that. Yeah, he killed Han, but I didn't get the Han-Rey connection. I know it's there, but for me, it didn't work like Obi-Wan and Luke. You didn't feel like they were connected like that. And so this last movie, I think they're going to have, they need the weight there. And their relationship, the Reylo aspect of it, whether, the romance or just this force bonding, the master and apprentice, it has to be there. And Kylo is the reason that Rey has the power, but they're interconnected. Their fates are sealed with one another, essentially. Whatever happens to one is going to happen to another. And it's all going to conclude with this force bonding type of thing, I think, anyway. Like, the force bonding is a huge aspect of it. I think if this movie does take a time jump, it'll be curious to hear whether or not Rey or Kylo had multiple force Skypes going along the way, because we know she shut the door on them, fine, but did they continue? It was like Ezra and Darth Maul in Rebels, and just every once in a while Rey's like, and then she senses something with Kylo, and Kylo's trying to track her down through the mindset of this, and he's the one pulling the strings because he is the master in this scenario. All right, thank you so much, Rachel, for that question. Thank you, everybody that sent questions for me today on this Manic Monday. It's been a lot of fun. If you have questions for me that you'd like to hear me talk about, discuss, digitalcharcuterie@gmail.com is where to do that. The link is in the description below and is on the screen right around my shoulder level somewhere. I don't know where, maybe that side. Right there. Thanks a lot, guys. Really means a lot to me. I'll be back tomorrow with Super Tuesday. And until next time, ciao for now.